Hey guys, I have some new videos coming real soon, but because I haven't posted on YouTube in a while, I wanted to make this video and have a quick chat about some things, and I guess give you some reasons why I haven't posted on YouTube for a little bit. I also made a post on my Facebook and Instagram pages asking you guys to ask me some questions so I can include in this Q&A video. So I'll put them up on the screen as well so you can see who's asked what. So YouTube for me was a great platform to share some of my drumming, but I soon realised after posting a few videos that it was simply making me practice a lot more than I was at the time. You know, I was picking songs that I wanted to cover, and it was literally forcing me into the studio to practice. And then once you're behind the kit and you're working on material, you start venturing into other areas and other weaknesses that you see in your own playing. So I got so involved in playing way more drums and practicing way more the more I posted. And those of you who practice know that the more time you put in, the better outcomes you see, and the more motivated you get at practicing even more. So it's a big snowballing effect. So for me, the more I posted, the more I practiced, and the better my playing was. So I was just addicted to, I guess, getting in the studio, working on songs that I wanted to cover, and also being more motivated to practice a hell of a lot more. So on top of all that, I guess positive outcomes for me personally, I got some great opportunities from basically my YouTube videos too, and it all started from when Pliny asked me to play with him for his first show in Sydney, and that basically took off with him as far as him becoming a touring musician and having a touring band. So for me, the YouTube stuff just became like it wasn't important anymore. I just pushed it aside because I had already reached the point where I was practicing a lot, and then all of a sudden I started touring, and Pliny really started touring a hell of a lot. He was touring in North America with intervals, he toured in Europe supporting Animals as Leaders. One thing kind of led to the other. So for me, every time I was home from a tour, I was often learning material for another upcoming tour with another band. Another great thing for the touring for me was it's given me an amazing opportunity to play with some incredible musicians. So after a few tours with Pliny, Aaron from Intervals asked me to do a run supporting Animals as Leaders in North America. And then after that tour, I got to play with David Maximicic from Serbia, who is another instrumental guitarist, and then also played with Nick Johnston from Canada, and then more recently, the Amity Affliction from Australia. So another reason why I haven't posted on YouTube, at least I guess more recently, is because I injured my wrist while I was on tour with Pliny in North America at the end of 2017. I was actually fortunate enough to play with David Maximicic and Nick Johnston on the same tour, but a week before that tour started, the Amity Affliction asked me to tour with them back in North America literally a week after I got home from the Pliny tour. So for me, I took the tour with Pliny and playing in the 3 acts as an opportunity to hit much harder. So I was playing way harder, and that's how I injured my wrist. On top of that, I had to drum tech for myself as well, and I'm not that concerned about setting up and packing down my drum kit every night, but I realised how important a drum tech actually is, because if you're tightening and loosening stuff every night, plus playing on stage every night, plus loading every night, etc., it puts a lot of strain on your wrist. So anyway, I got back from that tour with Pliny and practiced the Amity set, did the North American tour. Kind of got through the Amity tours that I did with a strap on my wrist, but obviously I didn't want to do a video with a wrist injury. So moving ahead, I guess with some stuff that I'd like to do this year is play through some material that I've been touring with for the last few years. So I want to do some more drum covers of some Pliny songs, I want to do some interval stuff, some songs by David Maximicic, and Nick Johnston material, and some more songs from the Amity Affliction. So thanks for your patience. I'm looking forward to getting back into some more videos, and I guess now I can answer some of the questions that you guys have asked. What is the reason for you choosing Pearl as the kit you play? Well, that's an easy one because my very first kit was a Pearl export, and I've always played Pearl my whole life. My second kit was a Pearl session, and then my third kit was a Pearl reference. So I haven't really played anything else. I've played and loved Pearl since the beginning. This is probably the most common gear question I get, is what stack is that? I have a 19-inch Paragon china on the bottom with a 18-inch ozone crash on top. What sticks do you use, mate? Right now I'm using a signature model with Big Firth. This is the Ray Luzier model from Korn. It's essentially a 5B. It's a little bit longer with a bigger shoulder and a bigger tip, so it's got a more of a forward throw that I really like. What is your favourite snare drum? What is your favourite snare drum? Snare fire, I need that snare, why are you so hot? This is my all-time favourite snare. This is a Pearl Masters 4-ply maple snare. It's a 14 by 5 inch. Love it! Very versatile. I've tuned this low and high and it sounds sick. And you can hear it right now. Do you think you'll ever get a new kit? I've noticed that most people who buy a reference kit use the same kit for decades after. Has anything else from Pearl caught your eye? Yeah, there's been heaps from Pearl that I've liked the look and sound of. Those acrylic kits sound massive. I really love their 4-ply Masters maple as well. I've had this Pearl reference for about 10 years now, and I'm actually getting a new Masterworks built right now. How did you meet Pliny? Pliny literally just hit me up on Facebook. He was obviously looking for a drummer and he saw some of my material online and basically said, look, I've got a show in Sydney, it's my first show, would you be interested in playing? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm a fan of your material anyway. So he flew up to the Gold Coast and that's where we met. Ran some of the material, learned his set, and then obviously everything went from there. Are you still with Pliny? The short answer to that is no. Hopefully we'll get a chance, to play again together down the track. Basically, when the Amity Affliction asked me to tour with them, I said to Pliny, I'm going to commit to anything they asked me to do, of which was a particular tour that conflicted with some European shows that Pliny wanted to do. So he had to find another drummer, and it was also bad timing for myself because my visa had almost run out about that time too. So Pliny had to make a decision to find another drummer and obviously, sort his visa out. What was it like touring with Pliny and Intervals? Playing 2 sets back to back must have been crazy. It was so fun. Well, obviously I enjoyed it because I got to be on stage longer, but when you're a support band you're sometimes only playing for half an hour, so playing with both Pliny and Intervals before Animals as leaders were playing, it felt like I was in a headlining act. So it wasn't too demanding because obviously we're playing for about half an hour each. Playing instrumental music is quite dynamic too, so there's quite a lot of moments in the set where you're playing next to nothing. So physically it wasn't that hard, but I obviously loved playing for more. How did you get in contact with the Amity Affliction? Did you enjoy the tour? Well, basically their guitarist, Dan Brown, hit me up on Instagram, I think it was. He found my stuff on YouTube, just like Pliny did. They were looking for a new drummer because Ryan Burt had obviously left the band. So he asked me to do a North American run with the band supporting Motionless in White. It's a lot heavier hitting, it may not be as technical, but I had way more fun than I thought I was going to. The North American tour led into a tour with them in Europe, and then I did a headline show with them at Unify. I got a few of the same type of questions here as well about whether I'm going to do any more Sugar medleys, and the answer is no. Basically because it just takes up too much time. When I used to do the medleys, I obviously wasn't working as much, I wasn't doing any touring. I had more time on my hands basically, so I got to spend that on, doing more videos like that. So I don't think I'll be doing any medleys of any kind, unfortunately, I'm sorry. I might do some Warmer Sugar songs down the track, but that's a no to medleys. Are you going to cover some of the new Periphery? I don't know, but I have a couple of students that are learning some of their stuff right now. When did you start music as a full-time career, and what were some previous jobs you had before that? For me, I started teaching when I was about 15 or 16 at high school. I was teaching some of the primary school kids, and at about the same time I was also doing some cover gigs. So I was making a living, I guess, from playing music from that age. At the same time I was working at McDonald's, and then when I got a bit older I worked at a couple of CD stores. But it wasn't until I was about 20 where I was doing literally nothing but playing gigs and teaching. Who initially inspired you to drum, and who keeps you inspired? I started playing drums when I was 10, and at that time I was a massive Michael Jackson fan, and a lot of his songs are very beat and drum orientated, so that's what got me into drums. I just wanted to play drums like the start of Billie Jean. And then I got into the Red Hot Chili Peppers and became a massive fan of Chad Smith. So for me, even to this day, I love seeing Chad Smith play. Obviously there's a lot of other drummers that have inspired me over the years: Bertrand Donati, Dave Weckl, Dennis Chambers, Tony Royster Jr., Aaron Spears, Chris Coleman. I mean, the list is huge, but I guess a lot of different drummers keeps me inspired, these days. When's the Occupants collab vid out? It's going to be really soon. Seriously though, after this Q&A video, I'm going to post a new playthrough, and then the Hindsight compilation video is definitely coming out. What was the hardest piece to play that you've recorded, and what piece would you say is your favourite? Wave of Babies by Animals as Leaders, and Wave of Babies by Animals as Leaders. Are you able to release drum transcriptions for Handmade Cities? Yes, definitely. As I said earlier, I plan to do some playthroughs of some plenty material, of which is going to be songs from that album Handmade Cities. So as I release the playthroughs, I'm also going to release the drum transcriptions as well. When is your next overseas tour? There's nothing on the horizon at the moment, but I'm definitely keen to get back out there, so if you need a drummer. So the next few questions I've grouped together because they're all related. The first one is, do you have any tips for memorising complicated charts quickly? Yes, I transcribe what I need to play note for note. The reason why I do this is because I'm a bit more of a visual learner as well. Some drummers are just an oral learner, so they can just listen to a track. I find it much easier if I can actually see what I'm playing as well. On top of that, as far as memorising the parts, for me, if I've transcribed a song first and then I'm reading it, I'm playing it 100% correct from the beginning, so muscle memory is kicking in right from the start. What is your process for transcribing the material you play, and how do you approach transcribing? I guess I'm a little bit old school with the way I do it. I use notation software called Sibelius, and I literally handwrite each individual note in with a mouse. Through your years of touring and playing, what were your top 3 most enjoyable experiences that playing music has brought you? I think the first thing for me, everyone can relate to, is the fact that playing an instrument is a lifelong experience. You're going to get better at this every single day if you choose. It's something that you don't have a shelf life for. The second thing for me is the fact that I get to teach. I really love teaching. I've done that for a long time now, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing my students grow. And the third thing for me is having had the opportunity to tour overseas. So if I get another opportunity to do more of that, unreal. If not, awesome. I'm super grateful that I've had a chance to do it in the first place. What would you say to young drummers in the business? I've left this question to the end for this video because I think it's a nice note to finish on. My biggest advice for young players would be to not stress too much about the near future. Don't worry too much about what hasn't happened yet. a lot can happen in 5 years or 10 years. So, you know, if you're a teenager, there's a lot that can happen in your 20s, even your 30s. And on top of that too, your career aspirations or the things that you want to achieve change as your career grows as well. So keep up the practice, keep the motivation there. Another important thing I would like to say to young players, based on my own life experiences, is you'll go through moments where you'll be way more motivated than other moments. So you go up and down with the level of practice and the level of motivation, but I think once you're in the headspace of practicing a lot and being motivated, really take advantage of that because a lot more things happen. So thanks for sitting through this Q&A video. I hope it didn't bore you guys too much. I'm really excited to get back into more YouTube content this year and sharing a lot more stuff with you guys. So again, thanks for your patience and we'll see you guys soon.